Hi, friends. This is a recording for Chapter 4, Lesson 3. You can find this in your textbook on page 138. So that is what you're trying right now. Don't forget, for this lesson, you're going to need your dry erase board and your marker. And also, if you have base 10 blocks available, that would be great. Remember, keep all your supplies near your Chromebook so that you can easily get them ready. Okay, so for this, I would actually recommend, if you have the base 10 blocks, to have them nearby in case you need them. Okay, let's take a look at the anchor task for today. So again, we're looking at multiplication. It says here, multiplying two-digit numbers. So we're now no longer multiplying single digits, meaning a problem like 3 times 2, single, right? That means 1 and 1. We're with the product of being 6. Don't forget, these are called factors, right? These are called factors. This is a factor, this is a factor, and this is known as a product. So don't forget that. That language is really, really important because you might see these words in problems, and if you don't know what the meanings are, then you might be confused. So this is a factor, this is a factor. When you multiply the factors, you get the product. Okay, so let's take a look at the anchor task. It says multiplying two-digit numbers. And the anchor task shows some children. It says here there are 23 children in a class. So down over here, we see some base 10 blocks. And we also see these colorful boxes, and they're going to be the place value cards. So basically, they're explaining to you, showing you using base 10 blocks and also place value cards, the representation of the number of children, which are 23. The question here is, how many children are there in two classes? Let's read this again and make sure we understand this. So there are 23 children in a class. This is the 23 children, one class. It's asking, how many children are there in two classes? So you can see here that they've given you a little bit of some clues using base 10 blocks, how you might represent 23. So go ahead and pause this video. If you've already tried the anchor task, continue listening to how it's solved. If you didn't get a chance to solve yet, this is a good time to pause and try it, and then continue it once you're done. Okay, wonderful. So hopefully you've had some time to calculate the anchor task. So when we look at this, let's take a look at what are some ways that we can actually calculate how many children there are in two classes. So you may have taken 23. This is way one. And just remember, if you've already found one way, like I tell you in the classroom, if you did one way, find another way. If you find another way, try a third way. The reason we're doing that is so you have many, many strategies, right? Okay, so one way some of you may have done this is to show one class, 23, right? And then that would be another class, and I'm going to add. This is repeated addition, right? Because we're repeating the numbers that we're adding. So if I do 3 plus 3, I always start in the ones place value, I'll get 6. This is really 20, right? It's not just a 2. 20 plus 20 is 40. It's got 46. So there are 46, and I always respond in a complete sentence, right? So I would say there are 46 children in how many classes? In two classes. We need to make sure we respond in complete sentences. That way, we know that we have solved and responded to the actual question itself. We don't want to just write 46, okay? So that's one way. Another way you may have solved it is by using base 10 blocks. You have them in your pouch. So another way you could have done this is by showing, and don't forget, this represents that long base 10 block that represents 10, and this represents the 1. So we want 23. So you may have shown 23. That shows one class, and then another 23, right? And what you may have done is added all the 10s first. How many 10s do we have? Let's count them, right? We have 20 here and 20. So you may have done 20 plus 20, which is 40. You may have even just done 10, 20, 30, 40. That's fine too. We're trying to think of easier, quicker ways, right? And then you may have counted the ones, right? So here, again, 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3, which is 6. Not done yet, because what do I need to do now? I need to take these, the sums, right, and add them together. So if I add these two together, I get 40 plus 6, which is 46. Still need to answer the question. I'm not going to write it out again. You saw me do it the first way. There are 46 children in 2 classes. Okay, so you may have used base 10 blocks. Another way, you may have done another way, way 3, which may have been using not repeated addition, but using base 10 blocks to show multiplication. So using, again, the 23 and 23, and you may have said 20 times 2, which is 40, right? You may have done 3 times 2, right? 3 times 2, which is 6, and then added the products, which you would get 46. So there are 46 children in 2 classes. Let's take a look at the way our friends have solved. And again, there might be other ways that you may have found the response to this question. Let's take a look and see how our friends solved. So again, the anchor task that you saw, I had kind of just written here just to let you know that this represents the 2 10s, right? In the 23, and these are 3 ones to give you 23. So one of the ways that they had shared, I'm just going to zoom in here so you can see this. One of the ways that they had shown was to use multiplication here, 2 times 23, right? And looking at the 23 here and the 23 here, and just using the repeated addition right over here. So that's one way you could have done it. We actually, when we did method 1, we just looked at this 23 plus 23, but you could have said 2 times 23, which is another way of showing that. Another method that they showed over here is multiply using this 3 steps, looking at multiplication, but using standard column, right? And they use base 10 blocks to show how you do that. So if you look, let's take a look at this. You can see that they multiplied the ones. And I'm going to do this step by step because this is also a way that many adults have learned when they were younger too, including myself. We call this the standard column method. So what we do here is we make sure, first of all, that the numbers are lined up in place value. Really, really important, right? So 23 children, 2 classes. Make sure you set it up neatly. Make sure you're making sure that the numbers are lined up. Otherwise, we can get really confused, and we want to create good habits now because later on, you're going to be multiplying using many more digits. Okay, so the first thing you can see here, step 1, multiply the ones by 2. So this is the ones column. We can see 3 times 2 is 6. And if you look at the picture, all they're showing you are the ones, the cubes, right? 3 times 2. Okay, step 2, what you're going to do is you're multiplying the 10s by 2. So this is a 10s column, and this is not just a 2, it's really a 20, right? So 20 times 2, and you can see that in the base 10 blocks, 20 times 2. So if I do 20 times 2, what do I get? Get 40, right? So that's what you write underneath here, right? And you can see that there, and then you add these together, and you get 6 plus 0 is 6, and 40 plus nothing is 40, so you get 46. And that's how they have shown it. So there are many methods of showing how to use double-digit multiplication. This is one where we're going to learn, which is standard column. You can use base 10 blocks too. Find a way that works for you. One thing that I do want to share with you that I share in the classroom is we want to make sure that we are not spending too much time drawing little lines and then grouping them. Use base 10 blocks to make it quick, and then also using numbers to represent in equations, right? Get in the habit of writing the numbers down, to see how that works for you. Okay, you're going to stop, and then you're going to try a seesaw activity. later on. Okay. Hope this helps. Bye. Miss you all.